Okay, it's finally working. I literally have been fighting this thing all morning so far. Good morning. How are you? All right, let's throw on that background ambiance. I want to go over ACHR Aviations. And good morning to KBLD and E Martin G. What's up? This camera is really good. The only thing that I don't like is that I can't put a filter on to hide all my blemishes and my oldness. I want to hide that I'm 30, you know. I want to look like I'm fresh out of the womb. Yeehaw. Let's see, let's listen to some. Let's go to classicals today because I'm just feeling that. I'm also going to turn off my fan, have it on briefly, like a light, but I'm going to turn it off. It's just a extra noise that I don't want. Plus, I'm not really dressed the way that I want to be dressed today, but it is what it is. I'm going to shower after this live and then dress up because I do have to go live on TikTok today. I didn't yesterday because I did all this fun stuff for my background. Again, I got to figure out how I'm going to utilize this back area a little bit better. Anyways, that's beside the point. Let me turn off my fan and then we're gonna get started on stocks today. Hold on. Watch this. I can hide y'all. Boom. Not happening. I love this little thing. It gives me privacy whenever I want it. Okay. Let's get into the motion. Please throw your guys' stickers in the comments and I will hit them up as we're going down the list. Today we're starting with ACHR, ACHR Aviation. I am going to go peek over at Halliburton. Halliburton is doing what I'm wanting it to do, I should say, because again, predictions are all about stock market analysis. They don't always go the way that you want them to, but I'm seeing what it's doing. Overall, do you guys see me well? This camera is actually really good. The only thing I will say is, like, again, I wish I had a blender to getting old lines. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Alright. We had a bounce on ACHR, which is so funny. I said $4.99, and look. It did wick below, so let's see, we're at $4.94. Dude, that is just, that's icing on the fucking cake, I'm telling you. See, I'm fucking good at this. That's all I gotta say. And we leaped. Price leaped up to my 535 range. And we're probably heading back to here, 585 to that 596. We're probably going to try to get back up into this higher zone. I am going to have to start changing some shit. Because there's too much going on here. It's hard to see what I'm charting. There's too much going on. That's what it is. Alright. When in doubt, zoom out, they say. Accordance to this. Oh, and that didn't work very well, did it? Say goodbye to everything. Bye-bye. I'm just gonna go through and delete all my triangles. I think that's what just needs to happen right now. This one's too busy for me. Alright. A little bit better to see what's going on here. Back to business. I'm gonna slide that puppy dog over. You know, to be fair, this was probably a Head and Shoulders that played out. If I'm gonna be completely honest. So it's like right here. Yep, and then it was a continuation to the downside after that completed. And then we went in here, bounced off of this line, which this line is attached to a couple confluence areas that we have touched before in previous lows. And from what the looks of it was, is this was a new high low. So it's a higher low, which means we're going to have a higher price when this thing does run. Be mindful with that. For those of you who do like ACHR Aviations, we are getting set up for the next huge bull run. Right now, we're still kind of in this weird consolidational period. We're probably going to go sideways like this for a while. I'm going to say about a month or two. I can kind of give us a good idea of when this next phase or this next bull run is going to happen. Just give me a second. I'm going to kind of peeksy-weeksy here. Had some information. See, and that was another scene. Okay, there's something similar. I have so many fucking lines. I need to start adjusting some stuff. I'm gonna delete that since I have this thing here. It's just way too much going on. It's hard to see. See, and that's that line that I needed. We need to get back above it. So I have my key point here. I'm gonna go ahead and mark it. We're gonna get rid of this because it does cross there. We need to get back above a 750 for a continuation, which would put us back above the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. Right now we're still facing that, death cross, and it's still pretty expanded. We need 50 EMA to bounce somewhere and then to come back up and recross with that 200 EMA. Once that happens, we're going to see something like this. I think we have a little bit of time. I think we're going to bounce something like this. I think we're repeating right now, unless that's it right here. You know what I mean? Just kind of clumped into 3 different versions of this, okay? We could be somewhere like right here. We're going to break down a little bit more and then come up and re-go up to the upside. But let me see if I can find something that kind of looks like this. I mean that, but it's in the downtrend. This one's more, it's kind of up and kind of down. It's kind of sideways more than anything. Yeah, that's pretty close right here. Again, a quick breakdown, a bump up, and then maybe out. I don't think it's gonna stick to these lows unless we get this huge gap between our 50 and our 200. What do we got going on here? Yeah, we're good. As long as it doesn't go too far in terms of the bands expanding. See, something like this is good for upside, but for downside, this shit will drag it. The only reason this would get even wider is if we have a rejection somewhere here at that 571. Then we're going to see it gap out and pull back down a little bit more. Then we're going to come back and cross and then continue to the upside. If that does happen, I'm going to go ahead and do this scenario now, why we are here. Because if this does reject, I want you guys to know, because for more entry price, right? Everybody wants more. Bigger entries means more money when this thing does officially run. So I'm going to look at some zones here from its history. And we have come back here overall in terms of just historics, okay? Right now, see, I'm still kind of feeling we may have already broken the threshold and this will be our new high-low, higher low. But the only way to, this to be definite is if money follows, right? Money has to follow this. Something up here that's similar to this fucking nightmare of shit. It's in the downtrend, kind of sideways, which is kind of like this. However, that one's more in the inclination. I'm thinking this bit here, which we would have that pullback if that is what this is. However, I don't think we're gonna go anywhere near that far. My personal opinion, yeah. don't see that happening. So we're not gonna even mess with that. But in the first divot, it's a little more closer to accurate. I will go ahead and mark that. And I'm gonna shrink it. We're gonna make it a dotted line too, because this is the less probable. That's the least probable outcome. I do see something in there, but again, it's not gonna go very far into this, right? Because there's too much money in here. Now, is it possible? Yes. Is it impossible? No. But I do believe that there's too much invested in ACHR Aviations for this to really get kicked in the butt like that. Unless something massive happens where there's scandal, you know. It kind of depends here. That's not going to work well for me. Let's change the color. I know I'm making more lines, but just trust me on this. I'm gonna organize everything here in a second. I'm getting some key details kind of pinned out. Things that we need to be aware of. I have this one down here that we're aware of now. I think I will take it from this point though. And I will delete these. Because this is just some key information that just needs to be monitored. We do have a ceiling here, and I think again I'm gonna click the wrong one. I'm gonna wall this as well, and then we can get rid of all this extra shit, which should give it a little bit more of a healthier look. And then we have our gravitational zone marked. Okay. Now, if this does break out, we do have the first zone that needs to be broken out of. This is the key zone. This is where either we're going to go up or down. This is where it makes or breaks its entry or exit. Okay, when we enter the zone, we get a little bit of a push here, right? As soon as we come in, boom, we're above it. But as soon as we break out, this is where things get a little bit rough. Okay, we get sucked back in. This is another quote-unquote gravitational zone. The next one would be that red line that I have, and that's the most important one to get across, okay? These ones, we get thrown around and through a lot. And as you can see, when we do come and enter again, we can gap up out of it, which is a good sign. And then we hit that gravitational zone, which is where that rejection kind of comes in. However, as long as we stay, you know, pretty powerful in terms of like, you know, money being put in, this, that, and the other, we can come and bounce off of it and then continue on our way out. That gravitational zone is a key important, because as you can see, we get thrown in and out of it quite a lot. And then we come back to this area and we can bounce off of it, just validating price. For what I see in this future play, is as long as we can break above that 585 and maybe even the 596 range here, and we can hold it and keep it true, because we're probably going to consolidate a little bit like this before we see, you know, another push. That is when I'm going to say that we will see that continuation. But for now, it's still looking pretty bearish in my personal opinion. Like here, let me remove some of these other triangle formations. I want to show you the formation that I'm kind of witnessing here with this particular stock. And I'll also come back and check comments here in a bit. I get a bit distracted when I am doing my analysis and stuff, so I don't always pay attention. Okay, so how this is working out in my head, which we are in that lower section still, and that's exactly where we were kind of rejecting too, from the looks of it. Not too far off from that rejection here. Okay, which the reason why, I'm gonna just explain why I split my triangle in half. Okay, so there's a lower section and a higher section of this triangle formation. The lower section tells me there is still some delay or weakness within terms of price movement. And I've been practicing this for a while and testing theory, and it's worked out pretty well. But once we cross over and see it's tried to break above, it's pierced it. When we do break above and we get into the higher section, that is where our bounces are more, you know, likely to happen to try to get that breakout, which you can see kind of here. But as soon as it broke out, that weakness came back in and it sucked it back down. Okay, all the way down, not even a little bit, all the way. So it's just something to just kind of consider. So this would be that first rejection. If we did it in a larger scale of price action overall, I think that would be our first test or second test, one of the two. And the only way I can find that out is by going like this and just taking overall what has been moved. It is first. Okay, so that would be our first one. Our first test of trying to break out. So this thing could have another 2 to 3 trying to test the breakout before we will see that climb out. Sometimes it happens on 2, sometimes it happens on 3. It just depends. And sometimes it doesn't happen at all. And at 5, we freaking don't. And it just happens. It's the market for you. It is a falling wedge as well. So you got to remember that this is a falling wedge. However, once things get compressed and, tightened up, we start to see things shift in the market. It happens all the time. So ACHR Aviations is getting set up. It is trying to, gain that liquidity so then it can start running and start moving. And it does look like volume's also changing directions a little bit. Now we do have a little bit of a fall here, but it's not drastic like these times or this time or, all these other times, okay? But I'm also on the buy daily, so this kind of doesn't give us a really big overview of what we're experiencing. It's just a brief preview, right? Again, what I would like to see for ACHR Aviations to do for this to be a true continuation to this reversal pattern that we're trying to do, okay, is to break above this particular zone in the smaller time frame triangle, okay? If we can get back above into this higher area, we're going to start to see more things moving. But right now, it's still unsure if this is going to be the actual continuation. Again, this is kind of like that inverse hammer there, which is usually an upside candle, right? But just because the candlestick says, oh yeah, it looks like upside, doesn't mean it's always upside, okay? It's usually temporary sometimes, and then other times, it just goes the other way. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But it is a solid candle, right? Yeah, I would like to see this thing cross at least 571 today. Would be great. Or tomorrow. So I think, what are we, Tuesday? So about Wednesday or Thursday to see that would be that validation for me that this thing is going to continue going up. Otherwise, we're going to start seeing this thing break down a little bit farther in. Again, I was marking these zones here. Okay, 408 still seems a bit stretched out for me. I would say, you're going to be closer to maybe like 478 before it bounces back up again to retest, because that's where we've been kind of seeing a lot of this play out. But again, market has surprised me before. 410 at most, but again, that still feels a bit stretched for me. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Okay. Yeah, 451's not too bad either, because we have something here that just kind of validates that we've bounced there. But again, the only way that's going to pan out is if we have that rejection. So we'll just kind of keep tabs on ACHR for now. Let's go ahead and move to the comments. Hey DH, how are you? Your internet's spotty? Yeah, well, there's been a lot of geomagnetic weather. Hi DH. Sorry I go and yap around, but alright, let's go ahead and get into it. Is there any other tickers you guys want to go look at? I'm going to go peek at Sophie and Halliburton. First Halliburton, because that's what I said earlier. And then let's go and peek at Sophie. Yeah, and look at that. I'm telling you. So remember, I was telling you, Eric, about this breakdown for Halliburton. Now, we could bounce off this 50 EMA, but this thing gapped down, which is a tall tale sign that we're coming down pretty hard. Look, we gapped down last time too, but we did bounce and keep continuing. Okay, I do foresee that we're going to retest the 3574 and maybe bounce and try to touch the 3691, but I think this is that break continuous to that breakdown, continuation to the breakdown, I should say. 3268 would be my more extremities of this breakdown. If we do break below that 3268, we are coming way down. I'm telling you, maybe even to a 2731 at most. That's max pain for me in these next couple of months. Weeks, actually, I shouldn't say weeks, because I'm on the bad daily. anyway, moving forward, this is breaking down. I do have that head and shoulders, which is looking like it's playing out here. I'm just kind of show you. I'm gonna show you something. Let's go there. Yeah, it already looks like I have it. oh, fucking well. Yeah, like I was telling you about where I'm seeing it. 3574, which I do have that marked for that head and shoulders. That would be that completion of that head and shoulders. Once that plays out, then this is where the direction's going to really start shifting for us. Either it's going to go up or it's going to go down. But once that head and shoulders validates fully, okay, it plays out, this is going to tell us, okay, what's the next candlestick? Where are we going after this? And if we get that candlestick of continuation to the downside, we're coming down hard. Just be mindful of that, because we are, validating head and shoulders right this second on the bi-daily. And I do believe that you can see this all the way even on the weekly, but don't quote me on that because I haven't checked in a while. Well, not quite. Weekly doesn't really show it that well. So 18 days, how do you look? Yeah, 18 days doesn't even show that shit. So it's just that bi-daily, daily-ish time frame for this head and shoulders, which that's not bad. So it's going to be a shorter-lived head and shoulders, which is a positive, okay? That is actually more comforting than it being on the weekly, because this tells me that it may be a shorter-lived downside. We could come and bounce off that 3268 and still have like a temporary downside just to validate all this price action that's happened in the last couple of months. Boom, bounce off, and then we're off to the races, which is where I see that 60.96, the 66.88, and the 89.84, which is a huge run. Again, I would look for more entries, probably somewhere around these 30 ranges. Don't get too excited though, that 32.68, I would look for something a little bit farther up in this. But again, we are seeing that pullback. I mean, even RSI is agreeing with this. So is VHM. We are cooling off. We are coming down. We are just resetting, getting back down, after a long exhausted play. Okay, we've had multiple plays in that exhaustion. So we are a bit exhausted, coming down, resetting. And then as soon as this bounces off and we start picking up that RSI and that volume, we're going to bounce. So just look for those entries. I can actually see where a lot of people are looking for entry. Let's go ahead and peek here. Look at that. Again, a little bit farther up than my 3578, but I'm telling you through what what I charted with that head and shoulders, people are looking for the more higher side of that. 3578 is going to more than likely happen. Just be mindful of that. Because it does tend to wick down and do stuff like this. We have patterns here of touching these zones. So just be prepared. I truly believe we could get that 3578. And again, I did mark that 3632, which is pretty close to that middle section of that buy here. And then we have a couple other things down here. This is where a lot of other people are buying, which is my 3268 that I was telling you guys about. There is a zone there to pick up. That's why I didn't leave it out of the probability, because it can break down farther. Just because people think that it's going to bounce XYZ, they have all these statistics to why, doesn't mean that it's always true. Again, money talks more than people's mouths, okay? Money has to be in the equation for this to continue. And if it doesn't have the amount, it's going to come and pick it up. So we just got to keep our minds prepared for whatever to come, okay? I'm going to go look out farther since we are a bit on the closer time frame. Let's look at the weekly. What is the weekly even looking like? So we do have that sharp curve to the downside. And if we look here at the weekly, we're also exhausted and we're still working on cooling off. So we have a longer time frame from the looks of it for this thing to cool off. Again, that 3268 is looking more and more appealing as I'm going through these time frames because of how exhausted this stock is, truly. Okay, we have pickups here at 3066. Now, do I think we're going to go that far? Not necessarily. I'm still sitting around that 3268 range. I mean, look, we even have people down here looking for $20 entries. Again, I don't think we're that exhausted, but we'll only find out by just kind of scrolling through here and seeing where we're at. Yeah, bi-weekly is still pretty hot, just starting to break down. But again, this is 2 weeks out. That closes in about 2 days. 4 weeks. We're starting to climb, but also decline. So this is, again, markets saying there's a bit of indecision here, so it's going to be a bit unpredictable in these next 4 weeks. 8 weeks, again, going down while price action's cold. So yeah, that's kind of just confirming that downside. They're both agreeing it's time to cool off. Monthly pointed to the downside while climbing. Again, that uncertainty in how this is going to play out. Monthly downside agreements with the VHM. That's a positive. So overall, I'm just saying be mindful of this. Let's look at the 2 hours as well. Shorter time frame. 2 hours is saying we're completely cooled off, so there might be a little bit of a bounce here. Again, that just validating the uncertainty in the market. So we're going to probably see something like this, and then breaking down again, and then bouncing, and then breaking down again, and stuff like that. Okay, it's going to be a good fluid market for scalp plays, in my personal opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so it's not financial advice. Do your own due diligence, please, and thank you. There is that death cross too that I do want to peek at here. So we had this death cross right about here. That was back in June 5th. So it's just starting to see that breakdown here, and this is where everything's kind of curved to the downside, falling. That is a huge fall on the 2 hour. It looks even more dramatic. Yeah, we're gonna come down and probably bounce off that 36.90, probably come back up here, touch that 30, maybe not quite 38.40, so 38.31, like right below, and then continuation to the downside. Reason being is this thing is showing some hella weakness. Even volume's not quite where it should be. Yeah, it's pretty much dead in the water right now. If anything does change in terms of volume, though, that could, again, shift everything. If you look here, like we've all of a sudden started gaining volume, and boom, we jumped, right? So that could be what's happening. We're having this exhaustion period, and then we're going to come bounce somewhere in here, maybe wick down a little bit, and then, you know, pick up whatever's here in this section. Jump up, jump a little bit, who knows, somewhere in this range, and then come back down, pick up some people, jump again, and then just, you know, slowly work our way down until we're at price. You know, what could end up happening, 34.86 doesn't seem unreasonable either, somewhere in there. Again, just be mindful with Halliburton. Halliburton is kind of dwindling down. It is showing signs of major weakness. Even across every time frame that we were looking at, it was still pretty hot. So we do have some time right now where this thing needs to just kind of cool off. The shorter term time frames, of course, you guys, those are more for scalping. They're not for the longevity. I look for the longevity to give you guys a longer term outlook of what is happening in that stock. So if you're a scalper, you know what time frames you need to be focusing on, especially for your daily plays. All right, let's go ahead and peek over at Sophie real quick, because I haven't touched Sophie in a minute. Let's go rub hands with Sophie. Okay, hold on. I'm checking comments now since I've been yapping. RDW, please. All right, thank you. I will check that one out. TP still in Halliburton, 32.68. Would be cool to catch bottom. Yeah, I want to catch bottom too. That's why I like looking, because remember I got out at 41. So I need my next entry. I'm just gonna keep eyes on it for now until I can find my next entry. Anyways, that reminds me, while I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna cancel my investment in NASA, and I'll tell you why in a minute. NASA. Kiss my NASA. Whatever. Thank you. Dude, I'm excited. So Metsi is the other one I gotta go and do. You know what's funny is Metsi can run to 18 and then fall to 14 in a matter of days. Crazy stuff, dude. Yeah, so we ran pretty hot and then we broke down. Shit's crazy. I'm waiting. Metsi is going to be stacking up for this next phase. I really want to buy 100 more shares because I see the long-term potential for that. Yep. Keep an eye out on House Scalp because there is some money to be made there. Now, hello, Sophie D. How is you doing? All right, let me turn off all these block order bullshits, okay? Just so you guys can kind of see what's going on here. Actually, I don't even know if this is the right chart, but we're just gonna roll with it because it seems like it's followed pretty safely here. We didn't quite break down as far as I was hoping, but that's okay. Hold on. All right, let me delete some of these little predictides lines. It looks like we caught a good break here, though. We did stay within this confinement here. I was just saying worst case, like that was where we would go in that bounce. But we look like we held ourselves in pretty well. We had a quick VHM run, breakdown, consolidation, and now we're trying to do another breakout. Let's see what direction we're kind of at. Let's zoom out. Let's go to the weekly real quick. What is we doing? What's the plan here? Let's get a good look here. Good hard look. Yeah, that's that fallen wedge. Consolidation. We're sideways. We're trying to figure out which way we want to go. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like Sophie still can break down and go to those ranges. And here's why I'm thinking this, okay? Because if you look, I'm on the weekly. We're moving up to this hotter range. Yeah, we're going to have a little bit of a out. We're going to probably hit about 19, 26, maybe $20, and then bounce and then break down. I do feel like we're coming back down pretty hard because we're resetting for next entry, for the next cycle, the silicoleo pattern. 1150, let's see. Let me see about where that is putting us here in terms of everything that's happened these last couple of months. I'm not saying, like, I'm saying, but I'm not saying, but I am saying. Because that would be IPO open right here. Okay, of 2020. I still feel like we have one more cycle that we have to come back down here in this range. I'm going to wait for entry here. Maybe I'm going to set an alarm like somewhere in here if we ever reach this point. For myself personally, you guys don't got to follow this. This is for me personally. For when we do come and touch this 1215 again, I think that we are getting set up for this next silicoleo pattern. And what we can do, I'm going to switch. So we're going to save this. I'm going to switch over to a different page for myself, and there's Blackberry, which TP would kill me if I didn't do this. Oh my gosh, look, if that closes, and it has 14 days to close, if that closes, that's a telltale sign that this thing's coming down. I'm looking for entry for that one too. All right, let's go to Sophie on this one, and I'm gonna completely wipe any charts here. Yeah, Sophie's doing its Sophie thing. But if you look here, like that's that wedge. It's in a broadening wedge, and then we have already reached the bottom of this just particular formation, which tells me that there is going to be further downside. Just be mindful of that, okay? I'm going to delete all this because I want to show you something. This is what I see. Actually, that's pretty accurate to what I was looking at, but turn off the order blocks because nobody cares. I mean, I care, but I don't care, okay? So if we look at this history of Sophie, let's go all the way to the top of what it's been doing, all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to engulf it the best that I can with trying to get everything inside of it, okay, with the exception of some little areas here and there, okay. This wedge, here, which is why these particular zones are so freaking important. If we look at it as a whole wedge, I am going to do my little line thing too while we're here. We are in the upper section, which again is still promising. That is still a very promising section to be in. But I think we still have a couple more cycles that we're going to break down. I am going to pull up my silicoleo patterns here as well, why we have the chance. Hello. I think I froze. Hello? Yeah, I did. It froze. That's not what I wanted. Soliclios. I need soliclio patterns, por favor. Sometimes I don't remember where everything's at. What the hell? Did I miss it? Is it this one? This one? Oh, there it is. Just was not paying attention clearly. I think we're gonna do the lines though for this one. So I want to show you. Okay, so this would be the start of the stock. Okay, and I'm gonna just move it out. We're gonna give it plenty of time, about a year-ish, almost about a year, not quite a year, but about a time frame. Okay, and we are just entering this next soliquial pattern, which I was looking on here, but anyways, this next soliquial pattern. Okay, this is where things are kind of like shifting in the market for what we're gonna do. 2, 3, 4, 5. We've had about 5 cycles so far, and if you look, there is some confluencies to where I placed here. So this would be that breakdown, and then we had this candle, and then we started going up and a little bit sideways, but we still went up, right? Then there, I don't know what the hell this was all about, but then we did go down, break up, and then continued. Again, another indecision candle that broke us down a little bit to go back up. So we've been kind of in this this pattern of this wave, which is great, but we still have to come back down to go back up. And I do feel like we can very probably, hold on, because I'm going to do it at another angle here. From the looks of it. Maybe. I'm going to change this one as well. Let's do a different color so then I can kind of get a better view of what we're looking at. Okay, and in terms of this would be that like climbing wedge, right? This wedge that we are going up, the ascending wedge or whatever the hell you want to call it. But we did come and touch the top of it, right? And then we're breaking already back down to the bottom. So we're in that lower section of this particular soliquial pattern, okay? Because I did it from this one all the way to here and out, okay? Again, we could continue a little bit and then break down. I don't feel like it has much oomph left in it because we are starting to see that decline. Again, this is the monthly, so let's zoom in a little bit since we've got our chart kind of messing around here. Let's go to the bi-weekly. I think that's a good place to start. Yeah, that breakdown, piercing. But that's good. That's a good one right here. Because we pierced into something here. Look. There's a floor here that stopped it too at 865. Let's keep looking. Yeah, it seems probable. Somewhere in here. 1451, there's a good floor here. I will say there is a good floor in that 1451. Now, we didn't quite go there in this section, but here there is a floor here that we have touched quite a few times, and also used to climb out and up. But we've also broken down below it too from touching it. So just be mindful of that. That 1451 is really going to give us that insight too. Once we break below this particular line here, which is at 1516 right at this time, in terms of price for this area, 1451 would be that floor that if we broke below, we would see that pull back into this range. That 1215 is very likely, it's a high probability. However, we do have this curvature to the upside if this does reject here, because again, we're just trying to cross that 50 RSI line. If we cannot get there and break over that 50 RSI line, which we still could, it will reject and pull back a little bit more. It's just kind of saying, no, it's not quite ready. Again, the VHM is also disagreeing with this upside trend because it is more curved to the downside, which tells me this could be a bit of a consolidation zone where we kind of just bounce like this for a little bit before price decides which way it wants to go. That's based on 2 weeks of information. Let's go ahead and go to the weekly because that one's more accurate, I should say. It's a bit of an accurate base to be because this is true right now, where 2 weeks is a little bit farther out in time. This one's more immediate time. And there is a bit of a gap up here too, even on the weekly. Okay, so I do have this zone too. So we're just gonna kind of line that out as well. Again, a little bit of a continuation and then possible rejection here in the next couple of weeks. Hold on, I'm comparing something here because I see this. If you see, we had a bit of a gap up here as well, and we're right in that zone too, where this is lining up. So this could be this variation. If it is, hypothetically, if this is that variation here, let's see where we're going to be going, which obviously it's going to be a lot farther. I'm going to still mark it just for our stuff. I think I said 59 last time for 859 for something that I saw, but we're seeing a 49, which is a rhythm. It's rhythmatic. I'm going to look for that 859 now. Stand above that. It's about 860, which is right where I was thinking, which is where that other rejection is. If you look a little bit farther down this, like right here, we have another gap here. There's been a lot of these where we have that pullback. We'll gap up a little bit and then we have that pullback. See, there's another gap. But this one's a bit different because that one was a very strong bullish climb. There's another gap up where we broke down after. Seems to have a habit of that, but every once in a while it looks like a good gap up between this zone. I may put this as the gravitational pull area in here. I think I might just go ahead and turn this to the gravitational zone for this area. So then we have a good information. About 959 is a gravitational zone. Because this, we break down a little bit, then we push back off. So just be mindful of that. Now we know one of the gravitational zones, and that's important. Important information. Yeah, it does have a history though. Like just looking overall, we do have a history of gapping up and then receding back down. So there's another gap up. We climbed a little bit farther and then broke back down. That's after IPO opening, and that was that head and shoulders that played out. Crazy, crazy. Head and shoulders broke down. Ooh, I touched it. I don't want to touch there. I'm not locked on that, but don't move. Anyways, back to the regular programming because I'm getting lost in the sauce here. 1451 possible breakdown. If this particular price action does not hold true, again, we have a possible ceiling here at 1837. We could go and try to touch that. If it does not break above that 1837 range, rejection is imminent, and we will probably come back down, retest this area here, which from the looks of it would be about a 1684, and then continuation to break down. Maybe a 1527 to a 1446, which would be that range here. And it's funny because everywhere that I've put everything, it looks like a little triangle here. So this is kind of like triangulating, you know, where this could potentially hit here. This is where I'm kind of seeing we would come back down to and just validate price. If we can hold that 1446 bounce here, continuation to the upside, which we would regain ground, because we would probably bounce back up and get back above the 200 EMA if we can hold that 1446 and bounce back up. We would need a really strong push though to get back above, because we would have to break back above this line here, which why this one is so important is that is my line through the overall price movement that has happened since Sophie's IPO opening. Bouncing back up and getting above that would just validate that we would be continuing and probably climbing again. Otherwise, we're kind of in this weird place with Sophie where this is a bit of like uncertainty, I will say. I know some people want to know what its future play out would look like. So let's say hypothetically it does break down to about my $12.15 scenario here, okay? Again, it would take a little bit more time to climb back out here, but 65.83 possible longevities, long-term play. Because again, Sophie is still in this incline, guys, and it does have to follow its systematical like programming and this, that, and the other. But money talks, right? Money talks more than the system that is put in place for this thing to gain momentum, break new highs, and this, that, and the other. But it has to have the funding for that to happen. So until that happens, we're just kind of sitting here. Anyways, moving forward though. Okay, the reason why I'm picking this low inside of this formation, this 12, is because this would just validate everything that has happened in the past since like July of 2024, which would put us at about 50% of this whole overall like whatever. Okay, and then that bounce would put us at that 65.83. Now if we do bounce here, somewhere here, I'm gonna put it like right here, that would put us at a price of 85.77. So we have two zones now officially, and then I can zone that out. So we have two possible scenarios mapped out and marked out for possible new bullish runs. I found the downside. We know what the potentialities of that downside are. Now we know our upside. So that is how you're going to do that to get ahead in the market. You're going to give yourself enough room to find entries, as well as enough room in between possible massive bull runs. Again, that time frame. Remember, I like to do this. I'm gonna just tell you overall based on time frame here. This would not happen until 2027. No matter how you look at it, 2027 is where this would take place. So even if we broke down this year, all the way through August into April of 2027, we would not see anything until probably late December. So closer to 2028. Again, things take time, so just be mindful. You're holding this for the long haul. Just pointing it out, okay? All right, let me go ahead and look back at the chat. It's been a hot minute. Yeah, money talks in my dreams too. All right, RDW. I'm gonna go peaksy weeksies at RDW. I yap too much, man. I get so enthralled with my stock analysis. Is this the right one? Redwire Corporation. Edit G. Even in my dreams. I'm too much. I'm surprised. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna make an invite. I'm gonna go post it in the Discord. Because that's how TP joined last time. This one, please. Because I'm having issues over here. Hold on. How's the music level, by the way? Is it too loud? Because I just realized like that effort is like super high. My freaking bad, my god. I'm gonna mute it for now. I'm gonna give myself a break. I'm gonna give us all a break. I see that. Here, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go ahead and share the live into the Discord. And then we'll continue. I can already tell you this thing has some freaking potential just looking at that U-shaped formation that has transpired since IPO opening. And the fact that it had that big, huge run, nice. Very nice. I am sitting in the corner. Alright, hold on. Go to general. Do you like my firework? Hold on, I'm gonna move out of the way a little bit. TP's gonna come in now. I guarantee it. Yeah, I wish you would have said something because I had it turned down on my end. Yeah, that's true. We have some awesome music here. So since I have it turned down, I'm I'm gonna shrink it even more. Actually, I want you guys to be able to hear it, but I'm gonna mute it for myself. 'Cause, oh yeah, now you guys can't really hear it at all. How's that? Can you guys get it? Do you hear it? I have it turned way down on my end. Hold on, switching songs. That's true. We just gotta tell him we got glizzies. He'll hop in. Alright, I'm on the weekly. I think I don't need to zoom out any farther. Weekly looks like it has a healthy amount of information anyways. Still pretty new as well. Alright, let's look at overall. Trajectories. God, I love charting, dude. It's like I get this weird obsession with it. Like this unprecedented high. It's a weird feeling. It's like, yeah, I know. Okay. What are we looking at here? Well, would you just look at it? You know what I do when I see stuff like this? I just look at it. Can I get a hiya? Okay. This thing looks really nice. I like the formation of it overall. It's appealing. Damn, imagine. Could come and bounce off of the 1247 and then continue. This thing looks like it's fucking set up for, I don't know, it's a little over Bado. And this is also going down, and it just had a death cross. Actually, we're having a pullback, so just so you know. I was like, maybe we can bounce. No, we got to cool off first. I think it's been long overdue for a cool off. Like a decent cool off. I'm not talking like a short-lived cool off. I mean a long-term cool off. Let's go look. I'm going to actually zoom out. Let's go to the monthly. Let's see what we looking at here. What you looking like there? That might be an inverse head and shoulders, though. Hold on. Let's see. Damn, this fucker may run. No, that's not it. Hold on. Hold on, just give me a second. Chill. It's not quite it. Unless we count that. Yeah, that's not quite it. Unless we come down here. Let's try that. And then this would be technically like that. And that would have actually played out already then. Because I can already tell based off of this information, like it already played itself. Yeah, it did. We already played. And this is where that breakdown is coming in. Yep. That was an inverse head and shoulders. Damn. That means it plays those. Which is, sorry, I don't know what I did. I meant to do that. Yeah, pinky. I don't fucking know. Metal. Very, very good. If it plays its inverse head and shoulders, that means anytime that we get them for this particular stock, it's gonna push it. It's gonna follow almost exact, because that was almost exact with a little bit of extra, like exhaustion. I think that we can possibly, if it breaks below this center piece, like 951, I think it's very likely we could get $7.17 entry at max pain. With the old time, like if this thing's going to take a dump, like a royal dump, it's possible we could see that $3 range again, or at least touch it. You know what I mean? Just like, just the tip, you know what I mean? Like something like that. This fucker is cool. Like, I'm not gonna lie. This fucker does look like it's pretty overall healthy because of how much movement is kind of like presented here. There's another inverse head and shoulders too. This thing likes those. It really likes those inverse head and shoulders, like a lot. Dude, it could do that again. Look at that. Because that is still at 50%. If it does repeat, hypothetically, hypothetically, fair. Holy shit. Holy shit, what the hell? What the hell is this? What the hell? Bruh. I'm gonna just say this. If this thing repeats this pattern, okay? Because it closed 50%. And then it had another opening bar where it gained a lot of like pressure, a lot of buys. If it repeats that shit this time, okay? Because this was that Head and Shoulders breakout. This is the other Head and Shoulders breakout. If this could go to fucking $79. That is not impossible for this. And it's new, so I don't understand. And it was still moving on red, so earnings were fucked up, and it's still going up. I'm just saying, it's not impossible. It looks like for this fucking company, and again, there's not enough information to really validate that. But I wouldn't put it past it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And the only way we're gonna know is when this next candlestick opens in the next 14 days, per the monthly shit. They're connected to SpaceX. Yeah, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take what I say as law, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I'll just do this for entertainment. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, nope, not at all. Herp derp. This fucker, dude, I'm telling you, Eric. If this thing comes and bounces off that 1255, I might get in. I ain't gonna lie. I wish I had more money. I need $1,250, bro. You know why? Because I want 100 shares so I can play it. I can play it. You know what I mean? Does it have dude, I want in. What the hell? Alright, I'm gonna go add this to my list. My list of I need them. I need it. I'm gonna go look at this. RDW. And this one actually has a very easy following chart too. Like I see the patterns and its history and its health. It's already at 1380, dude. I don't think it's impossible to get a little bit lower. I think we could even come. I mean, here's the thing. So 50% for this would be that 1253, right? That range, or 1247, whatever the heck it is, okay? Like, I'm gonna just let's just kind of do this, okay? It'd still be about a 50%, which it would validate a couple of these other previous little pokies, okay? Even that one's pretty close. I mean, shit, maybe 1229 might be more accurate. No, because let me look. What hits the most? Maybe 1172, bro. I'm gonna add a line there. Why are we being difficult, bro? A line here. 1168, which have more confluencies here. Even 1168 doesn't seem unreasonable. I mean, it's not. I mean, we could wick into it though. That's the thing. If this thing does repeat though what its previous patterns were, because that was an inverse Head and Shoulders as well, and there's what happened last time, and we climbed. We had a little bit of a cool off period, a reset here, but it wasn't. It didn't take forever either. What are we doing? Let me look here. Volume is still looking pretty hot and heavy too. Let's zoom. I mean, we have a bit of a decrease, obviously, but let's see what happened last time too, right? When we were here. What did it cool off? That's the real question. We did. We had a bit of a cool off. We had a stair-stepping situation. Hold on. Okay, yeah, we had a cool off, a massive cool off. But then we had a sudden spike, dude. And what this is looking like is that huge cool off. Like, that's a massive cool off here. If we get another fucking spike, I'm telling you, what is order blocks looking like? Are there people buying? Okay, there's nothing here. We gotta zoom in. Hold on. This is too much. There's too much shit going on. I gotta. Okay, there is a buy here, 1275. Dude, I'm telling you, 1249. There's people looking for that 1249, and a little bit below my 11 here. Like there's people looking for entry at 11:15. But I'm telling you, I don't think it'll quite go that far. I think the best option right now is at 12:47. I think we're going to bounce off of it again cuz this would keep us in that formation and hold true value to what is happening here, depending on how many people are invested in this. Like, honestly, it depends on how many people are freaking invested. Well, actually, it's not impossible though either, because okay, so zooming out like this, we have a huge and it stays within this higher sector. Look, I'm telling you, it is possible that we could have a massive pullback to about 1013. It is possible, because this is the line we need to care about. This is the line that matters the most. As long as we stay above this line, this is continuation no matter what. Because this is that overall, like, this is just everything that has happened. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Keep RDW. We're going to keep this one in close proximity, because this thing has a nasty history of having a huge run after an inverse head and shoulders. And it's already proved itself twice, okay? 2 times. And that if that's its patterns, and if it's planning to do it again, we might be able to get $80 out of it. I'm not even fucking shitting you right now. Because I'm looking at this thing. And its history. And how it climbs. Okay, I'm gonna do this hypothetical with you right now. Watch this. Hold on. Let's go to the weekly. Sorry, I'm like making room here. Okay, so let's say hypothetically it does go to this $10. Okay, it bounces somewhere. Well, I need to move it up, okay, because this is where this is gonna really matter, and that's what, close to that $10. Okay, it's not quite. It's a little bit below it, but I don't think I'm too inaccurate here. Fucking $80, dude. I'm not even fucking shitting you, because that's just taking from this last fucking run when this head and shoulders happened, and then it did some bullshit like this. And look, it's kind of, look, I'm not playing, because look, okay, we're at that 3rd bar right now. This one had 4 bars before it bounced, I think. And see, we have 2 days before this fucking closure on this weekly. Once this 4th bar comes in, this is where we're going to either bounce or we're going to continue. So this is what is important right now. We need this to, I'm going to set my entry, dude. I want to get at least 1168. What is this, a week? Yeah, so next week, I'm telling you, next week we need to keep tabs on this. Next week I would find entry. But to validate it though, that's the problem. So next week I would probably look for entry. I'm not gonna do it right this second, but next week I'm gonna look for entry. We'll probably do it on Monday. I'll get up early. So Monday I'm gonna set an alarm for that, because RDW is setting up for its next potential bull run. So next Monday, shit, that's pushing it, but it'll be alright. I just gotta make sure everything's done. RDW stock watch. So we're gonna add this to the stock watch. We're gonna watch this one tomorrow or next week. I'm gonna set an alarm just in case we get there early, because if we do, this could. Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
Go off and leave this land. Come a little closer, dear. I won't leave you here. Round and around you go. When time stops, nobody knows. Tick tock, go around that clock. Your heart is beating, when will it stop? Come and take my hand. Let's go leave this land. Come a little closer, dear. Your time left is getting near. Soon all things will be clear. Come and take my hand. Let's go off and leave this land. Come a little closer, dear. I won't leave you here, here. Round and around you go. When time stops, nobody knows. Tick tock, go around that clock. Your heart is beating, when will it stop? Come and take my hand. Let's go leave this land. Come a little closer, dear. Your time left is getting near. Soon all things will be
EPLD. The audacity. Alright. It's 10:55, you guys. Let's continue on. Alright, I got a bit yappy. Mom called. Okay, again, back to what I was telling you. This effer, this mofo right here. If we get to bounce anything like this one where we have that huge climb. Here, I'm going to take only the smaller side of it too. Because again, this was that first push. Because there was something else that happened here. Okay. Look. $23. Still very possible. I'm just saying though, if this thing, look, that's still a really good play, like getting it in and then buying and selling out at that 22.92-ish. Actually, it's a little bit higher above, but don't worry. 23.07, so it's about 23 bucks, okay? From this 10 entry. That's a double. That's a double your money right there. Who doesn't want to double their effing money? Because again, like I'm seeing, like, okay, so something happened here where the reason why it freaking continued, who knows? But yeah, this bounce here after that head and shoulders played out, this is that inverse head and shoulders again, doing the same BS. I'm telling you, there's something here about their inverse head and shoulders on this particular stock that just kind of gives me this sensation that this thing can go crazy. Again, $80 isn't unlikely. This thing could see $80. Yeah, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You like my hair color? Yeah, I'm going to turn it back black because, look, if you look, my roots are starting to show. I have a couple spots in the back of my head that need to be touched up. My freaking hair is like... It's because I've been out in the sun, to be honest with you. At 13. I'm going to wait till next week. Because I like it, sure is. I'm going to go back to my gothic black. Because I look so hot and batty. And then I can be a goth. On all my... Because I bought horns for my live stream on TikTok. I also bought a crown. So I'm going to be wearing horns and a crown. I'm going to paint my face white. I'm going to go straight goth. I'm going to just stream as a goth. I'm going to be like, yeah, it's so dark. Sorry, excuse me. Okay, so because of its history, okay, patterns don't lie. History repeats itself. And the last time that this particular situation panned out, this inverse head and shoulders that I marked out here, which is right here, it had a massive, huge run. Now, I charted the inverse head and shoulders here, and we did play out. Now, it's pulling back and it's repeating history here. We have one more bar, which is in the next two, by next week. Okay, next week is going to give us that really strong indication on if this thing is going to continue or not. So we're going to get another pullback candle, and we're going to get entry. This is where I would look for entry, is next week. And then now this could break down and continue breaking down. However, this is an inverse head and shoulders too. The indecision candle or this situation overall, Again, it could not play out, but I'm going to still look for entry because I see its potentialities. But the reason I do feel like this thing is going to do it or explode or make us money, even at the lowest of that 2307, again, I'm looking for entry for the cheapest possible entry, okay? Which I'm thinking about a $10 entry, somewhere around 10. $23 still is a great play. That is double your money. Because 10 to 20 is, you know, 10 extra dollars, okay? So that's double your money. I would take double my money. But if this thing on the other chance plays out like it did this last time where it had that huge like payout and then it sunk down in, right? And then it continued, then that's where that 7906 comes in, about $80, close to that $80 range. But again, this stock is still pretty new. It's still kind of getting its footing and its stuff like that. So I think the shorter play 2307 is more logical, more probable versus this $80 range. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that there is a high probability that this could replay everything that has happened in its historical database here. However, we are on also the upper part of this play versus where this one started at the bottom of the play. Okay. So again, this is kind of that, you know, hit or miss here. I'm still going to look for entry. We're still going to monitor it and just see how things are looking. Because if it is starting to show that it's set up for that potentiality, which this RSI would have been cooled off, because that can happen in a week. This is cooled off, but pointed to the upside, and we cross back up or even bounce off of this 50 RSI line. We're going to see that pump. Okay. So we'll just kind of monitor it by next week. We'll kind of know what this is looking like. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Yeah, I'm gonna paint my face white. Look, no, because I'll go full goth. Like, what I'll do is I'll like do like, I'm gonna go like Kiss. You know what I mean? I'm gonna put a giant black star in my eye, paint it in. I'm gonna go live, and then I'm gonna do my black lipstick too. I'm gonna be a full goth. I'm gonna just be a goth on live, and then normal mom, not on live. I also bought a really pretty dress. Oh my god, let me show you when I have a second. Like, I didn't even do my makeup really today. Like, I gotta go take a shower and like fix my makeup and all kinds of stuff, but I just kind of woke up and was like, I better go live. And here I am. Oh, I also looked at buying a beard, like a really long wizard beard, and going live like that too. Because, you know, I'm a goofball and I have a full personality. Might as well expand that personality a little bit. Show off that I'm more than just my body. I'm more than just a pretty girl with a pretty face. I got a weirdo personality. Alright, I want to show you the dress. Oh, actually, I think it's on Shein. Hold on. I bought a dress too. It's a princess dress, you know. And I'm really not a green person, but I bought green. Cause I can. So I'm gonna have a princess day too. You put in fake beards too? I bet you do. I'm gonna have fun with it. Oh, look, I want to show you this. I got a princess dress. Look. Look at that. What? No way I saw this. I don't know if you can see it. Look, I got a princess dress. I bought that. It was like on sale, so I got it. So I'm gonna look really princessy. I'm gonna show you my fake horns too. Because I wanted fake horns. Look. I got clippity clipping horns. Just because why not? Like, I'm gonna have fun with it. I don't care if I don't feel pretty all the time. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna tape chest hair to me. Here, I can do that right now. Hold on 1 second. Let me just. You know how I made that cloud look? I still have some cotton left. This shit's really soft though. But look, here we go. Here's my chest hair. I could probably make a beard out of this. Some Abraham Lincoln shit. This shit's so funny. You guys are nerds. Nerds like me. Anyway. Yeah, I bought masks too, so I can hide my face, you know, because I'm so unattractive. So then people will watch me, and they won't get turned off by the way that I look. Here, I'll show you. I bought a bunch of them. I got a 6-piece set. Look at that. So I can hide my face. I gotta be mysterious, you know? That one's a fox one. I think that one's cute. I can't wait to wear that one. The little foxy mask. That one right there. Look. Ah! If I don't drop it. That one right here. Up here. Anyway. I'm being a nerd. Okay, let me show you. I also thought about buying this, but I didn't do it. Look. Man. I'm gonna start buying myself stuff that I actually want. I need to stop not spoiling myself. Because I do deserve nice things. Did I show you guys my crown that I got? I don't know if I did. I got that one too. Anyway. Enough of my girly stuff. Back to the stock market. I threw my beard on my bed. You know. Sometimes you just gotta take your beard off when it gets too itchy after a long day of wearing it. Put it behind you. Okay, let's go look at BB for our lovely friend TP since he still hasn't come in. I'm gonna throw hands when I see him next. He just doesn't know it yet. BB. Black buddy. Looking like a somebody. Sophie. Being a hoe ass bitch. Hi, Sophie. BB. Nope, that's not my chart either. Where is my chart for Blackberry? Oh, where could it be? I think I hid it somewhere amongst the trees. Oh, that's my straight up dialysis. Okay, hold on. Let's zoom out. When in doubt, zoom out. The fuck is going on here, bro? Okay. That's not it either. What the fuck did I do with Blackberry's chart? Hey, that's D-Nuts. Quick overview for D-Nuts. Definitely rejecting where I was predicting. Probably going to bounce off that 380. Possible continuation, possible rejection. I do have some lows here that I do have marked, which is that 350 and also that 301. Again, D-Nut doesn't really have a lot of strength at this current time. It's kind of iffy. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I could be, but I'm not. Okay, I have no idea what happened in Blackberry's freaking chart. I'm throwing hands, bro. What the hell? What happened to my chart for Blackberry, dude? Do I have to redo it? Some fucking garbage right now. I'm confused because I had a whole chart for Blackberry and it's missing. It's alright. It's been buggy all week anyway. Doesn't surprise me. I'm so confused. I don't understand what is happening. Maybe it's not the right one. No, it is the right one. Ay, ay, ay. Pinche pendejo. I don't know what's going on because my chart is missing for Blackberry. That's not good. Oh, that's the limited. It probably is the wrong one. What the fuck? Blackberry. No, that's not the right one either. Let's check this one. Nope. No clue what's going on. All my shit's missing for Blackberry. I'm suing. I'm suing somebody. Somebody. We'll just redo it. That's fine. It's just stupid shit. TradingView pisses me off sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. It fucking happens. It fucking happens. Let's just go all the way down here. Starting to see some climbs. Wow. It probably needed to happen. This redo anyway. Bruh, come on. Please stop being a little fucking... Don't be a twat. Thank you. Aye, aye, aye. Back here. Do 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 do. Ba-dum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-bum bum 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 ba-dum bum. Ba-da-da-dun dun 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 da-da. Ba-da-dun dun dun da-da. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Don't judge me. Do what I want. Hey, welcome in. D's Nuts is a ticker. Hi. I'm glad you came in. So do you want me to go over some D Nut? Krispy Kreme. We all thought the same with D-Nut. I love making D's Nuts jokes, so you can fight me. I wonder what happened to my BlackBerry chart, though. That's what really irritates me. Shit don't make no sense. Straight to jail. On the upper side of it too. Very nice. Very, very nice. This is pulling back though. Let's look. We're starting to see a little bit of collapse here. We are hot overbought. And it looks like we're getting shorted. Possible $11 again? Maybe? $11.59. If not, we're gonna come fill this gap about $10.91. Pullback is imminent. If not, we're going to come back here. Turn. I'm going to do that. I'm adjusting my sales here because... Yeah, I think that's probably more reasonable. I am going to mark this only because I can and I will. 824 possibility. Possible 1168 pullback. And then after, let's go ahead and see where this could potentially go. $12.36, or I'm sorry, 12, haha, no, 11.30, 21.36. English is not easy, okay? I don't know how to speak English, it's hard. Which would actually put us in a really decent place. I'm not gonna lie. Put us right in the middle of this formation. Which I should probably do that for this range here. Just gotta do that. All the way down to here. Pull that bad boy out here. Because that would be that breakout. Let's change the color of this fucker too. I'm blue, da ba dee da ba die. I'm a blue da ba die, da ba dee da ba die. We are in that upper section too, which is so good. Climb out, that would be that breakout. This one, the next breakout would be somewhere like there, that 2136. And hypothetically, let's see, I'm just gonna kind of play around with this real quick. Logically, logistically speaking, 1793. which to get there, let's just see. If my thesis is correct, that would be our third line. And then I can come here and take this motherfucker, and I can fill these in and delete Tamondos, all these extra lines, which would give us a great idea of this breakout overall for the past, whatever, fucking 2021 all the way to 2026. This breakout would put us somewhere in this ballpark of 25.55 to a possible entry of 18.14, which would be the new, you know, strategy. Again, pullback still imminent. Once we bounce, we have to come back in, probably validate 50% of this overall price action, which would put us somewhere in between like 10.22 to a possible 8.82 if we stick to that 50% ratio. Then bounce back, enter back into this formation. If we can overcome back above here at this 12.09-ish, depending on how long it takes to get back here, we could see that continuation and that official breakout of this formation to that 1806, 2136-ish to $25 range for the Blackberry. However, again, pullback is imminent. We are overbought, oversold, or I'm sorry, overbought. So we're going to start seeing that decline in price. Everything is pointed to that downside based on the weekly chart. Let's go ahead and zoom out. Let's check the bi-weekly. Bi-weekly again, just confirming that downside. 4 week. We're 4 weeks. We might see that reshifting of stuff into 4 weeks. Let's go to 8 weeks. How we looking there? Yep, there's a bounce happening right there. So maybe about 2 to 4 weeks of time. There's a bit of a pivot here. Some consolidations on the monthly. There's that indecision candle. If it closes in the next 14 days, that's where we're going to start seeing that trail down to the downside. If that monthly does close like that, this fucker's coming down pretty hard, which is this zone here. Hopefully we can stay above the 50 EMA. If we cannot, further downside. Okay, which would really suck for Blackberry, but I don't think we're going to quite see that. Just be mindful of that. Are we overbought too? Yeah, we're kind of moving that way. Not quite there, but we're not quite not there either from the looks of it. We're still pretty much in that higher zone, and we have rejected here before. Monthly isn't hot, but it's hot enough, okay? Let's go back to the 1 day. Let's go ahead and peeksy weeksy here. Yeah, we're super duper hot, and the daily is already kind of confirming that this pullback is imminent. We have the pivot to the downside here. We're starting to reject. We already had a death cross here on the RSI and the SMA 14. VHM is super hot, pointed to the downside. We're starting to break. Once we do break below this 50% on the VHM as well as this 50% on the RSI, this is just confirming that this cool off has to happen. It's confirming that we need a break. We have too much going on. It is time for decompression. So we're going to come back down. Probably, it's very possible we could bounce off of the 50 EMA and then continue. Okay, that 50 EMA probably is going to touch that 1023 around the time that we are breaking down, maybe somewhere around the 1161. We might start seeing a little bit of consolidation where we're going to ping a little bit here. If it does not hold true, we are going to break down and start to see those $8 ranges again, and would be a great pickup point for those of you who do want to get into Blackberry. Again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Everything I say and do here is for entertainment purposes only. I cannot tell you how to spend your money, how to blow your money. You do you. It is your money. I'm not responsible for what you do. Period. Okay? Thank you. Again, that's kind of my dialysis here on the black of the berries. Name July. Commission check coming. Well. So much hype in SPC. All right, let's go look at the SPCX because I was charting it, and I'm going to tell you right now that I will not put my money in it. Not right now. And there's a reason for that. All right, let's go ahead. See, I'm on the daily. We can't really. I mean, we could, but for what reason? Other than to see nothing. There's nothing here to see. Alright. How long ago did I say this? Okay, so I charted this yesterday. Whatever day that was. I did something with this. Anyway. It did come and validate where I was thinking. It bounced out of there on aftermarket hours. Continuation to the upside, which is really good. That's positive. Starting to see a little bit of weakness here on the hourly chart. Let's go ahead and stretch this bad boy this way. Yeah, we're starting to see a little bit of situations coming to light here. I would not invest in this until we start to see steadiness in this particular stock. But everyone can do their own thing. It's just my personal opinion. Everyone can do whatever they want to do with their El Monte. Their Monte. And we are still above on this formation. It's still looking pretty bullish. However, volume is starting to come down and dwindle a little bit. We're starting to see a little bit of that cool off. Even this is starting to cool off a little bit. Again, this is a new stock. Everyone's like going to be plumbing money into it because it's SpaceX. Who doesn't want to go to space, right? When this does decide to break down and people stop, overhyping this particular situation, 199.34 is probably going to end up happening. Somewhere within this range here. I am going to just go ahead and mark this zone since we do have now officially close to 3 days of data, which is wonderful. How exciting. Just be mindful there is going to be some pullback because this is, so if we look at it in the day chart, right, look at our bars here. Okay, we're going to have to do about a 50% retrace. 30 to 50% would be that continuation, which again, this won't happen until probably what is today? Tuesday? Wednesday, we'll probably start to see that bit slow down, a little bit of pacing itself because we are starting to see that volume decline massively. The slight pullback that could potentially come in, again, we're just going to probably bounce somewhere around this 189.74, or we would probably continue because that would put us around that 50%, 30 to 50% retrace just to validate everything that's happened. We've had 1-2 gap ups so far. Which is a good sign. Again, there's not a lot here to chart, so I'm just predicting based off of what I see right now. Again, can't really do much with little to no information. Okay, just be mindful. Just be mindful. It is a new IPO, and just because it goes up super high does not mean that this thing will not crash and burn. Just be mindful of that. All right, back. Goodness. All right, and then the other one that I wanted to talk about, okay, because NASA is also a new one that started recently. Look at that. Would you just look at that? We are in a upward trend as well, just as much as that other one, SPX. Again, this one has a lot more days, a lot more data to kind of go off of because it started back March, so we have a lot more things to kind of look at here. Once we get to about this point with SPACX, and then its other variant, which is, I think, the H1 or X1, something like that. Okay, because there's different variants here. I actually have it on my list here. There's the X. Yeah, it sucks that I'm not on my other account. There's an H1 as well, I believe. A dividends, another dividend one. And then, yeah, anyways, yeah, we need more data. Once that more data kind of comes in, we can kind of predict about what we're going to start seeing here, and give ourselves a lot more information, and we can play based on what the patterns look like and just kind of have an overall better, opinion of it. For now, I'm not going to mess with it until I see its health kind of improve in terms of what it is capable of, which might put it out of my price range, and I'm perfectly okay with that. I would rather make sure that I am securing my money. I'm not saying that it isn't going to be successful, but I am saying that I would rather know how it's going to handle when things get rough, when volume and like continuously, you know, continuous purchases start to dwindle. That's what I really want to see. I want to see how it handles that dwindle, because that's going to give me a lot more like insight of what to expect here. And the same with all of these, right? Because what goes up must come down. Oops. This one. I shouldn't push that button. Ner. I hit Control H instead of Alt H. Only problem with being on the browser is it messes up. Unreal. NASA's the other one that I really want to get into, but I'm not going to touch NASA again until I start to see this thing's full potential. I'm going to give it about a month before I even consider buying in. Same with SPSX or SPCX and the other ones that have anything to do with NASA, SpaceX, Space Force, you know, the works. I'll let everyone else put their money there and mess around with it. I'm sure there's good scalping in that, but no thank you. I'm pretty okay. It's just my personal opinions. I wonder if this is going to be our gravitational zone. I'm going to just mark it as the gravitational zone. Let's turn it purple. I'm going to say this is the gravitational zone for now until we get other data. Excuse me. Because I've seen it kind of just like loop around here. This is going to either be that push or pull. This is where a lot of the money. So this is where like market value wants to sit as that 29.33, about approximately $30 to that 27.59. This is where people are trying to, or I'm sorry, the market is trying to put as market average or true value. But it doesn't mean that we can't get better lows or better entries, right? Every stock has its ups and downs. 38.95 seems pretty reasonable to go back to as well. I'll turn that to a yellow. Just an overall, I'm just keeping some data while we have time. But just keep an eye on it in this situation. Again, it's only got a few days. Alright, is there any other tickers you guys want to kind of take a look at? Oh well. Well, that's kind of my shindig on that. I can go over. Let's go look at what SPY's up to right now. It stayed in that higher sectum. It did break down and come and retouch that previous. That's positive. But I knew it was climbing. We have a couple zones though too. I think we're heading to that 828.85. As long as it sticks pretty close to this yellow line, this is going to continue climbing. We did bounce also on that 50 EMA, which is a positive. That means that, you know, we're staying pretty strict and true to overall price action. I'm going to remove that. Yeah, we're sticking pretty. Yeah, I knew this fucker was going to keep going. We have about 1,080 projected for SPY based on just how its overall movements have been and looking. Couple lows that I did come and retouch. Everything's just been pretty true to itself overall on SPY. All right. Triple Q. What are we looking like here? QQ. QQQQQ. It's doing QQQ things. What else we got here? Tesla. Starting to see a little bit of that situation. I wonder how long ago I charted this one. About here, yeah, it looks like it did stay kind of consistent with what I was seeing. If that pullback had continued, and that was that T formation that I made. Let's get rid of these prices. A huge VHM pump breakdown came and revalidated this price. We are trending sideways, which is beautiful, and it did validate where I was projecting. Hey, gimme. Let's see, let's go kind of like here. Got 50% of this. Starting to see a bit of weakness. I'm starting to see these Bollinger Bands starting to get a little bit closer to each other, which means there might be another death cross in the makings here, which would break down this a little bit again, probably close to that 37.97. I'm sorry, 337.97. But possible 302 in the incoming future, as well as that 289.42. Some stuff is just starting to break here. A lot of people are getting pretty ticked off over some of the BS that these companies are starting to pull. Ford's the other one that I heard some shit about. Let's go see how this stupid company is doing. Yeah, they lost some investors. Doesn't surprise me. Nobody wants to be a part of someone that wants to take away freedoms for people to mess with their car. That's ridiculous. I think that kind of shows bull crap. Because when we buy a car, it's our responsibility to take care of it, not Ford's. And if they want to try to take full ownership back after selling a car to somebody, just make sure that you give us free services. There you go. Then you can keep your stupid fucking vehicles under your stupid control. But at this fucking point, it's ridiculous. Freedoms are starting to get a little bit iffy, and the fact that these humans seem to think that they need control over everyone's stuff, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That's why these companies don't thrive very long. Ford's got it in for them. That's all I gotta say. A lot of people are not happy. Not happy. Let's see. That's kind of a awkward triangle formation here too, and that does look like a Head and Shoulders. Just a little bit fucking weird. Weird Head and Shoulders. Let's see. According to this, yeah, we did validate it. We bounced a little bit, which would be that dead cat bounce, which means continuation to that downside. Ford just really screwed themselves. That's all I know. Ford may go out of business. Because they're trying to, I don't know if you guys heard about the news, but Ford did storm into the White House trying to demand that they take away rights from people to work on their own vehicles. So then they can charge people to force them to go strictly to Ford to get their car repaired. Which means you couldn't buy parts and this and that, which is why they probably burned down a couple of those freaking junkyards. Conspiracies. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. How's that? Here, I'll turn it off. Because honestly, like, the music's just kind of on my nerves. Excuse me. So I don't know if you know this, Eric, but Ford stormed the White House with, I think it was GMC or some shit, demanding Trump sign them over the right to take away people's ability to work on their cars and to customize it or to even fix their own cars. They're trying to get a bill passed where only they can fix people's cars. No, you're fine. Don't apologize. Here, let me see if I can find the article because they kind of have some they're goofball. They have some weird. Look at all this. 118-91 191 vehicles for headlight daytime running lamps defect after prior repair. Isn't that crazy? But they want us to allow them to fix the car, but they keep fucking up, making stupid ass shit. Talking about China. It's your own fucking fault. On 91,000 vehicles. This is why I don't do Ford. I hate Ford. I will never own a Ford car ever again. Let me go and pull it up. I guarantee we can read about this article where Ford entered the White House. Because they want to take over control because they say that they're afraid of these self-made repairmen to steal people's data. Entered the White House to demand restrictions on rights to repair legislation on June 9th, 2026. Andrew Frick, which obviously his last name sounds like prick, okay? President of Ford Blue and Model E joined leaders of General Motors and Roger Penske in a meeting with President Donald Trump to discuss vehicle repair rights, which goes against Constitution. Because we have a right to... Anyways, it doesn't matter. President Trump stated that the automaker sought a bill that would prohibit people from fixing their own cars or choosing independent shops. Separately, Ontario Premier Doug Ford has engaged with the White House regarding a trade dispute through a planned reception was canceled to avoid angering the president. I wonder why. While Ford Motors Company lobbies to repair restrictions, Premier Ford has refused to lift bans on American alcohol until the tariff issues are resolved, promoting a Build Fortress North America economic plan instead. So if that tells you anything, and General Motors is the other one that was involved, these companies have some freaking mental issues. And I think for anybody that is an American citizen who gives a F about being able to work on their own cars, and that would, so what they're essentially trying to do is take away your right to fix your own windshield, your right to get your brakes fixed. You would have to go through them to get any of this done. Their claim was because they were afraid of these independent shops stealing people's data, and that the microchips that are in all of your guys' brand new cars are their property. So what I would recommend is not buy their new vehicles. Let them sit. Let them suffer. Do not buy any of the newer vehicles. Don't even participate. Ford needs to go under, and so does General Motors, because what they're trying to implement is communism or socialists. One of the two. It's one of those extremist groups, in my personal opinion. Again, this is all up to you, but this is ridiculous. And if they're already trying to push for this, imagine what else they're trying to push for. I heard that Tesla is also a part of this situation where I read that warranty gets expired if you go and have somebody else fix the vehicle instead of Tesla, which is, again, ridiculous. But it is a choice. It is a choice to allow certain businesses to fix your vehicle. But to say that they don't want you to have a right to repair your own car is absolutely effing ridiculous. And that is a right that you should be strict on, because what it does to you is that means you can't go to Firestone, you can't go to any of these local businesses to get any new tires, because they would put restrictions on a list of things that you could repair on your vehicle, or you go they could take your vehicle from you, which means your ownership doesn't exist. You are not an owner of anything. And this is something that even Biden said. Yep. Yeah, John Deere has some, that's the other company that has some issues too. And this is why it's so important that we stick to our freedoms. As an American citizen, we have a right to say no. We have a right to fight against these corrupt corporates and these businesses. And one of the best ways to do it is at their pocket. Destroy their pocket. Because they're going to realize that just because they think that they need to have control over humans and control over people and the way of their life, and what we are to own and what we don't own, that we as a huge collective, because we outnumber all these fucking people, these corrupt people, tenfold, thousandfold, 100 millionfold. Let's be honest. There's more of us than there are of them. They do not have a right to take our freedoms away. Period. That's my opinion. You can take it and shove it up your ass for all I care. But I will fight for my freedom. And I feel really bad for the future generation because they're going to allow AI to eat their ass and make decisions for them. And that bothers me. Grow up. Have your own opinion. Don't become easily controlled and manipulated, because they will do it if you let them. Teach your kids to be their own independent thought. That's what I have to say about that. That's why I think Ford should go under. They should go belly up, and they should no longer exist. Because I think that was too bold. Way too bold. Because if they're trying to push that, imagine if Kamala Harris got in. I guarantee she would have signed that stupid fucking bill. In my personal opinion. Sorry. I should be careful because there's a lot of very sensitive people on this fucking interwebs. They would probably cry themselves to sleep knowing that I have a fucking opinion. God forbid. They're not allowed to have an opinion either, though, since I can't. Anyways, moving forward. I think Ford is about to lose a huge group of people. I think there's going to be a lot of people selling their investment in Ford. Because Ford, I think, crossed the line, in my personal opinion. And let's go ahead and check General Motors. I don't even know their ticker. There it is. GM. Huh. That would make some sense, logically. Actually, they're looking like they're not doing too bad today. Is it a red day today? I can't actually tell because I'm on a different... Looks like there is a slight pullback going on here, but it's not too extreme. I don't think very many people know about what they did. I think it should be made known, though, because if they think that they're going to take away anybody's rights to their cars and ownership to their cars, they have another thing fucking coming. I don't want your AI chips. I don't want your computer chips in my car. I think I'm going to just stick to buying older vehicles. Yeah, I'm sure. This is ridiculous. We as humans and we as people, we have basic human rights, and we have a right to fight against a corrupt government and corrupt anything that's corrupt. We have a right to say no. We have a right to fight back and go against it. That's in terms of our food as well, but it takes a group of people to say enough and to put their foot down and to stand up against these tyrants, because they are tyrants. We shouldn't be struggling. There is no reason for American people to be struggling at all. At all. As we are, quote unquote, one of the richest countries. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit. Anyway, I said what I said. I need to keep my political views under wraps because people get so mad about your politics. Politics pisses people off because they make it the whole identity. Good gravy, grow up. That's all I gotta say about that. Anyways, moving forward, GM and Ford are on my shit list. I didn't like Fords anyway. I don't know much about General Motors because I don't like GMs, but that's another company I would fucking just be like, no thank you. I don't want to participate in your rhetorics and you thinking that you need to have control over everybody else's fucking money and their ownership of things. All right, I'm done venting. Moving forward, let's move on to bigger and better horizons. All right, looking at NVIDIA, following and tracking everything that I was kind of predicting here. I do feel like she is going towards that 257.36. She did come and touch the other part that I was thinking as well. She did come and hit my 212.10. Very proud of her. She did a very good job. She did about 50% of my other prediction too. Well, more than 30. She had way more than 50%. She hit 36.27 to 36.27. I still think it's possible that we could go see that 57. I'm sorry. I did my best. But yeah, we're starting to see though, like we're still climbing essentially. Like we're following what I was projecting overall. It's crazy how this works too. Very, very nice. Very nice indeed. NVIDIA keeps tracking and following my predictions. All right. Who else do we want to look at? Any other tickers that you guys want to see? We should make it a big deal too. SMCI. Aight. Uh-oh. I clicked something. In the arms of the SCMI. Smee. It's me, Mario. SMCI. Smee. I put it in the wrong order. SMCI. Smee. It's still kind of like that. Not quite it. Okay. Yep, there's my chart from last time. Damn, how long ago did I chart this fucker, dude? What the hell? We rejected right at this line. That's 65.64. I was hoping that we would climb a little bit higher, but we didn't quite do that. We did break down, even into this range, dude. I have too much going on here, though. Anyways, we did come and break in, touch these, a couple of these lines here. I'm going to get rid of that. Bounced off, continued back up, re-entered the 38.36, bounced on top of it, kind of stayed around this line, which I think this is my gravitational zone mark, but we won't worry too much about that. Went back to our 50.26, which I can probably drag this back over. What do you want? I'm busy. Unreal. Again, we stayed up here for a little bit, broke back down. Let's see what we're doing here. And now we're in the future. The future is the future. We have a gap down too. That's rough. That is a oh, that's a shooting star. And it's at the bottom of a trend. Hold on. Bottom trend too. But I wanted to see if I'm correct, if that is a shooting star formation. End of a range, upper long shadow, minimum, hush your mouth. Yeah, it's the three, it could be the three black crows as well. There's another one. What is that? I'll find it. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna kind of... High. Three white shoulder pattern. It might be the... no, that's not quite it. There is... I think this is the... what is the other one? There's a shooting star. And then there's the reversal one. I don't know what it's called. Just give me a minute. Which appears at the top. What's the opposite? There's an opposite one. Okay, patterns, inverse. This formation. There is a formation for this. Hold on. I got an idea. Let me hide all my... We're going to look it up. Come on. Stop being a pain in my ass, please. Thank you. Boom. Okay, let's go to Google. Fuck you, Brave. Evening star. See, I knew it was a star one. Evening star. Wait for do not enter the trade immediately. Okay. Set your stop loss above the highest wick in the middle of the... Okay. Okay. What if this is at a bottom of a trend? Let's double check. It's called a morning star. 3 candles, bearish reversal pattern. The signal sellers are exhausted and buyers are taking control. Wait for the confirmation. So we are, I was right. This is, I told you guys, I'm not stupid. This is a morning star. Let's go ahead and get out of the AI mode because it's annoying. So they called it a morning star. Formation. Which obviously it's a different variation of it. They like to say it's like that, but it's a different, could be a bearish one as well. At a bottom of a trend. It's bullish. But this one is different. Like this one kind of peaks up and does its own thing. This could be a bullish reversal. Could be a bearish reversal. We never know. We're not going to know until the confirmation candle by next week. I'm just saying. Yep. This could be the bullish one, but it also could be bearish as well. So we'll just kind of monitor it. I'm going to see if I can find this formation on here somewhere else at a bottom of a trend. Because this does have a lot of history. So just give me some time. Let's kind of look around here. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. There's a top one. That one rejected. That one was a, like, downside. All around me. I guess this one could kind of be considered that too. And that one did push it up to the upside. But I want to see one that's a little bit more closer to the accuracy. Again, that one kind of looks like it, but that was all green. Ours, I mean, not that it matters. Candlestick colors don't really matter. It just tells you what, like, if it was up or down. There's another one that's that 3 black crows, but it had that inverse hammer, which is that upside, which it did follow that, which is beautiful. I guess this one could also be considered it. Let's keep looking. You are my happiness, that's what you are. You are my destiny. You share my memory. You're more than happiness, that's what you are. Cause I'm a fool. Let's see. Looking. Oh, there's one right here. That one's pretty close. However, it's not like the others. This one is at a bottom of a trend though. I'm telling you, this could be that reversal. Where we might get a huge like pop up to the upside briefly. Not financial advice though. We're going to keep it. Let's keep track of it next week. Let's see what it does. Because again, this doesn't, we have about 2 hours before closure of this daily candle. Again, this is that morning star pattern. It is where this one's actually above instead of below. The opposite morning star is an evening star. It consists of longer white candles, blah, blah, blah. This pattern signals uptrend reversal with bulls giving way to bears. Okay. But we have the morning star, not the evening star. Morning star is upside. All right, let's just go ahead and let's just hyperfixate. Cause that one would be considered that too. That one is that morning star as well. Cause that's also at the bottom of a trend. Fuck you. Anyways, let's just say that it is, okay? On the off chance that this is, and it's gonna repeat, whatever, okay? 61.99, which isn't too far from my 65.64. We're just gonna slide that down a little bit more accurate. There we go. Okay, all right. Now we're all set up. I am gonna start deleting some of this bullshit. To be honest with you, there's just too much going on here. So let's just say goodbye to that one. Let's send that one out. There's just too much here, dude. I'm gonna just start deleting shit. Get. Go on, get. We'll put something about here. Goodbye. Too many lines. We'll leave that one there. There is a gap that needs to be filled, and it's very possible that we just fill the gap, come and reject here at this 38.42, and then continue to the downside as well. Because we are pretty hot and overbought, so it could be a temporary VHM run with that massive pullback. Okay, just be mindful of that. Okie dokie. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna mark my 2 places that I see we could reject here, and we could also run here. We still have a couple ceilings though that we would have to, consider overall. These 2 right here before we would see that continuation, which there's that. Boom shagalaga. Travel the world and the 7 seas. I hear my daughter singing. She's singing Sweet Teas Are Made of Leaves. Okay, yeah. So you know what? We've had this pattern a few times. It's just in different variations of it where they would climb and it would usually be at the bottom of a trend. We'd get like these 3 awkward morning star thingies. I knew it was a formation that I recognized. Again, this is at a bottom of it. Could also be that dead cat bounce as well. Okay, be mindful of that. Let's see if it is a dead cat bounce. Hold on. Hour. No, it's not quite. Huh? Yeah. No, I think, maybe. Here's my thing. Bottom of a trend. Maybe bounce off the 27.35 and then continuation. We'll see. We'll just keep tabs on it. We'll look at it tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow.